All right, guys, I'm really excited. I haven't really touched on this in one of these videos. I touch on it all the time in my live stream because it's such a vital asset to have, and that is controlling your trajectory. It is so vital to be able to control your trajectory, especially with your irons. You will have side hill lies, you'll have uphill lies, you'll have into the wind, crosswind. All of these, you need to be able to change the trajectory of your golf ball to actually hit the right shot for the right moment. Now, there's a lot of teachers that teach you to move it back in your stance, to try to de-loft the club by increasing that forward lean. And oh my God, while the ball may go lower, you are adding so many variables to your swing. So the chances of you having good consistency is very, very low. I have a much simpler and easier and repeatable way of controlling your trajectory. We got the TrackMan fired up. We're gonna hit some shots. I'm gonna show you my method, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is without changing your stance, setup, or swing technique to be able to control that ball flight every time. What better place to work on trajectory than the 18th at St. Andrews? So we're gonna put it about $150 out, 150 yards. We're going to jack up the wind, we're going to make it straight into, and we're going to actually crank the wind up to 10 meters per second, which is actually about 23 miles per hour, so it's a super strong breeze into. And then to know that we're doing the trajectory, we're going to check the height, and we're going to check the carry distance. All the other stuff we don't need, just the height and the carry distance. I don't know if this is 20 or 30 miles per hour, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but this is a really intense wind. So I got my 160-yard club. This is an 8-iron, and we're gonna hit this shot into the 150-yard target, and we'll see where it goes. We're just gonna see where this thing goes. Normal shot. Okay. Well, as you can see, that ball is going very, very high. So let's take this as an extreme case of into the wind. So that ball carried 97 yards, and the height was 43 yards. Now that's way, way too high. So when you have a lot of wind like this, you have to get the ball down. You have to control your trajectory. Okay, so we know that we're gonna have to control our trajectory, and what a lot of coaches will tell you is that means you should put the ball back in your stance, right? Now what that does is it creates more of an angle between your lead shoulder, which is really the center of your swing, and this golf ball. So it'll deal off the club, and the ball might go lower, right? Okay, here's a couple problems with doing that. As soon as you put the ball back there, your path relative to your normal impact position is definitely going to be more into out, and your club face is going to be substantially more open than normal. So if you know how to hit a good straight ball with your normal setup, and you put a similar swing on it, you are going to hit a push fade as soon as you move that ball back in your stance. Now, if you overdo it and you have a square club face at impact, you're going to have such an in to out path, you're going to hit like a low duck hook. I like everything to be consistent, and I don't like to have to rewrite the entire swing just because I want to change the trajectory. There is a way simpler way, and that is to change the club and to change the swing speed that you put on the club, okay? So the method that I like to do, and I remember the Nick Faldo playing lessons from the pros, this was the greatest thing, and I guess it's the clock method, right? So you have 8 o'clock, you have 9 o'clock, you have 10 o'clock, and you have 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock's a full swing. So that was an 11 o'clock swing, that first one, that went 97 yards with my 8-iron. This is a very extreme wind into us. Okay, so if you guys watched my last video, it was the how to gain distance or how speed is created. I talked about the fact that every 4 inches your hands move is an additional 2.5 miles per hour on the club head. So if you only go to here, rather than if you go to here, that's a good 1.5 feet. So the club is going to move slower. You don't have to swing less. You don't have to swing lighter. You can accelerate through that golf ball, but just by shortening, you will take speed off the golf ball. So the method that I use is you take more club, but you set everything up exactly the same way, the way that you always do, and you allow the club to do the work with the trajectory instead of you having to manipulate your swing. It'll lead to way straighter shots, substantially less variables, and you won't have to basically have two swings. You'll control your trajectory swing and your normal swing. It all will work. So here I am, right? And this is so extreme. So that 8-iron went 53 yards short because this is so into the wind. And it went 43 yards high. So instead of hitting an 8-iron, I'm going to hit a 5-iron. Okay, and I happen to know a full 5-iron, an 11 o'clock 5-iron, goes about 200 yards. And so for me, it goes down about 10 yards each. So that's 190 at 10 o'clock, that's 180 at 9 o'clock, and that's 170 at 8 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going to do a 9 o'clock, 180, because this is an extreme wind. But what I want you to focus on is I want you to focus on that height. Okay. So I didn't have to change anything. Now, I cannot stress how into the wind this is. But there you go. Now I'm really interested in the height, 31. So even though that ball went further, it knocked the height down substantially, over 30 feet, which is huge. Now, let's say we say, okay, well, I don't want to hit it any higher, so I'm not going to swing harder with my 5-iron, because if I swing harder, that's going to increase the club head speed, which is going to increase the spin, which is going to make the ball go higher. So, the best option into a shot like this, now you go to a 4-iron. Okay? And so I did a 9 o'clock. I don't think I need to hit the ball any harder, because harder will just make it go higher. So now I'm going to do an 8 o'clock 4-iron. Okay? I want you guys to focus on the height here. Look at that golf shot. All right, not bad. So that was an 8 o'clock 4-iron, right? Now this is so extreme. I'm going to find out, and as you can see, the ball went yet again further, which makes the ball want to go higher, and it still had a lower trajectory. And look, I didn't change my setup. Lead shoulder relative to the ball stayed exactly the same. I didn't have to mess with my swing plane. I didn't have to mess with anything. So it's so much easier to hit good shots when you're not changing your swing. Simply have a good understanding of how far your 8 o'clock goes, how far your 9 o'clock goes, how far your 10 o'clock goes, how far your 11 o'clock goes, which is your full swing. And don't change your setup. Don't change your ball position, because then you're rewriting your impact position. And if you have to rewrite your impact position every single time you want to change your trajectory, you are going to be really struggling. That is my opinion. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about trajectory. And before you listen to some coach shoving that ball back in your stance, I hope you try out this method. It's really quite simple. Just learn about your 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock distances. It works with wedges wonderfully. I played this way in high school and in college and in professional golf, and it's just been wonderful. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Go ahead and throw it down in the comments. And if you like this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you click that notifications button, it'll let you know whenever I'm going to drop my next video or do my next live stream. Speaking of that, I'm actually going to be doing a live stream on Monday. It's going to be an instructional live stream, and we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about trajectory. So it's on the golf.com Facebook page. I would love to see you there.